Hey guys, welcome to class. So this is the second part of our pattern drafting video. So I have gone ahead to impute the darts at the underbust area, and I am using the French curve to connect that back to my bust point. In connecting that to the bust point, ensure that it's not sharp at the bust point. So you come down slightly by a quarter of an inch or 3/8 of an inch. And so I'm connecting the second side. So now I'm going to go ahead and impute that on the other 3 vertical lines. So what we have left, what we used for the first dart was 2 inches, which is 1 inch on both sides of that line. So what we have left is 2 inches, and I have divided that into 3 parts. Do you understand? And so into 3 parts, I have about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to be sharing that on both sides of the line. That's why you can see me still folding the tape rule into 2. So that's about 3/8 of an inch on both sides of the line. So that's 3/8 on both sides of the line. And then on the third line, to 3/8 inches too. So I'm going to go ahead and work on the darts for the lower part. For that lower part, my natural waist is 29 inches, which is 14.5 inches. So I've marked 14.5 inches and I have about 3.5 inches left. So I'm going to divide that into 2 and share it on both sides of the first line, and then share the remaining half into 3. So I folded my tape rule into 2, and I have about 1/7/8 or something like that, and I'm folding that into 2 because I'm sharing that on both sides of that first line. So I have about 7/8 inches on both sides of that first line. And then the remaining is what I'm going to distribute evenly amongst the other 3 lines. So I think I'm going to have about 1/4 of an inch on both sides of each of the lines. To fold that into 3, and then I'll fold that into 2 again so I can distribute it evenly. So that's about 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, and then 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to use my ruler to connect my points. Connect the second one, and then do that for all 3 lines. and then connect that to my bust point line, the diagonal line. So you can decide to leave that area the way it is, but I've decided to raise mine by an inch just so that it's not so revealing. And then I'm connecting that back to the original line. And then also you can also decide to stick with the shape of the cup, which is the first line I drew with pencil. But I've decided to raise mine and also raise the midpoint of the center front of my pattern. Then also you can decide to drop the back by 1 inch, which is what you're supposed to do, 1 or 1.5 inches. But I've decided not to because I don't want the back to be low. So this is what I have. Although I feel like the line is too sharp, so I'll still try to curve it a bit. And then remember to reduce your bodice by 2 inches or 2.5 inches or 2.5 inches on top, and then maybe 1.5 inches at the bottom, just depending on what you want to do. But ensure that you reduce by at least 1.5 inches. So now we're going to work on the yoke area. So remember that that edge of my paper is my center front. So my shoulder width is 14 inches. 14 divided by 2 is 7 inches. So that's what you can see me measuring from the center front. Do you understand? Remember that our pattern is folded into 2. And then that's the center back. Do you understand? So the center front is at the other edge, center back at this other edge. So from the center back, also measure your 7 inches. Do you understand? And then draw out your armhole box. So you can see the armhole box for both front and back. And then you can see that side seam line that I drew out with pencil at the center. So that's the armhole box. That's the center back, center front. And then also one of the things I wanted to mention is to ensure that when you're drafting this pattern, your paper is on fold. Like your paper is actually folded into 2. Do you understand? So that you can open it up, since we are going to be since the waistline is diagonal. Do you understand? So we need the full pattern so that we'll be able to slash it the way we're actually supposed to slash it. So I have drawn out my shoulder slant, which is 3/4 of an inch. So now we're going to go ahead and draw the front neckline. So remember that I said that when we were doing the analysis of the style, I said for a shoulder width of 16, we can use 5 inches, but my shoulder width is 7 inches, so I've decided to use 4.5 inches. So also remember that I said that if you are going to be using whatever shoulder width you are using, if it's more than half, if it's more than a quarter of your total shoulder width, then you should crop off between 0.5 inches to 3/4 inches at the edge of the shoulder. So this is what you can see me marking here, 0.5 inches at the edge of the shoulder. And then I'm going to do the same for the back. Shoulder width for the back from the center back, guys, is 4.5 inches. So I'm going ahead to crop off the same 1/2 inch from the edge of the shoulder. Can you see that? So eventually I think I should have about maybe 2.5 inches left. So I'll just connect the points with my French curve, or better still, I'll just use my hand to do that. So the same for the back and the front. Remember that line at the center is the side seam line. Do you understand? So the arm side of the front and the back must meet at that point. And then I'm going to reconnect that back to the 0.5 inches that we cropped off for both front and back. So for my neckline depth, for the front, I'm going to be using 3 inches. I'm going to be using about 3 inches. Yeah, 3 inches, which is fine for me because I'm a size 8 or so. So if it's someone that is a size, let's say 10, no, like size 12, then you should probably use 3.5 inches or something like that. And I mean UK size 12. So for the back, because we can't put zip, or the lacing can't, mesh can't carry lacing. That's the mesh fabric that we're going to be using for the... So because the mesh fabric can't carry lacing or zips or anything, it's better to just connect it just the way that I've connected it from the shoulder. So connect it from the shoulder back to the bodice of the corset. Do you understand that? So that whole top area is my yoke area, and then I'm going ahead to just label all of the panels, and then also indicate the top so that you don't get confused. Indicate the center front of your breast cuff as well as the side of your breast cuff. So this is basically what the pattern looks like, and then in the next video we're going to go ahead and draw the skirt part of the corset, sorry, of the dress, sorry. And then here, as I mentioned earlier, you can decide to stick with the original shape of the cup, or you can take it up just as I have done. Do you understand? Just do what works for you, but note where it starts from. Do you understand? So mine is about 6.5 inches. Do you understand? So that you will just know how, so it just gives you an idea of what it should look like when you're done joining. Do you understand? So this is basically the end of this video. Please watch out for the part 3, guys. Thank you.